Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to put on record that I have known our colleagues, Alan Cayetano, for quite a long time, more than 20 years now, Mr. President. And I've seen his works and his passion, and we understand where he's coming from. And we feel that it is important that these issues be raised because I think there are some issues here that are no longer questionable because the courts have spoken, and I hope that we'll be able to find ways and means to ensure that order and correct measures will be undertaken, especially by the Department of Education, which is a very important department in our government. Mr. President, no member wishes to interpolate, but may I just seek for the recognition of our dear colleague, the chairperson of the Senate Committee on Basic Education, and at the same time, the chairperson, co-chairperson of the Education Commission 2, no other than Senator Sherwin Gatchalian. I move that he be recognized, Mr. President.
Senator Sherwin Gatchalian is recognized.
Thank you, Majority Leader. Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening to the good sponsor. My greetings to the Vice President. Will not ask questions, but instead manifest a few items. And just to take off where Senator Alan left off, he was asking earlier the per capita spending of Deped to our students. It's about 28,000 per student. So just to do the simple math, the budget divided by the number of students, about 24 million in our public schools, about 28,000. And the reason why we computed that is we were weighing the pros and cons on whether to expand the voucher system and the ESC. Is it cheaper to expand that and take up the excess capacities of our public schools, or continue to increase the budget for school buildings? Because we all know that we need approximately about 400 billion to just complete all the school buildings. So we were studying that possibility, and would like to encourage Deped to also look at that possibility of expanding the voucher system and the ESC. The ESC and the voucher system is cheaper compared to that 28,000. On the average, the ESC and the voucher system more or less is about 15,000, so it's cheaper than the 28,000. So we don't have a specific recommendation on that angle. However, it will be good for Deped to look at that option to increase the voucher system and the ESC to take up the slack or excess capacity of our private schools. So I'll go to my manifestation. First of all, I'd like to thank the good sponsor for accepting 7 out of our 14 recommendation. 50% batting average is not so bad, but thank you very much.
Dati yata mga 90%. Di ko alam kung ba't
it fluctuates every year. Minsan tumataas 90, minsan 50%, minsan. But thank you to the good sponsor. And one of the most important recommendation that was accepted was the teacher training for the Matatag curriculum. We recommended an increase of 1.7 billion to train our teachers in the rollout of the Matatag curriculum, which is being piloted this coming school year, and full rollout in 2024, school year 2024-2025. I would like to thank the good sponsor for adding 1.5 billion to train our school teachers. That's approximately about 200,000 more or less to school teachers in Key Stage 1 and other grade levels. So I'd like to thank the good sponsor for that. And I have some appeals. And some of the items that were not accepted or not included, I would like to make an appeal, although I know that budgetary constraints is real, and looking for funds is quite tricky. Nevertheless, I just want to make an appeal and put on record some of the items that we made recommendations. Number one is we recommended to include 160 million for mental health. And this is an offshoot of the hearing that we conducted on mental health. And we were quite shocked that in the last 5 years, from school year 2017 to present, to date, there are about 7,000 students who attempted suicide. And there are about 1,600 learners who actually committed suicide in the last 5 years. So this is a very concerning phenomenon in our school system. And I would like to recommend to increase the budgetary allocation for mental health programs to address all of these mental health concerns. The other one is connected to Senator Alan's comment earlier on the TechVok track. And I really believe that the TechVok track is the low-hanging fruit in terms of improving our K-12 system. And we recommended 144 million pesos to train our senior high school teachers to be certified in TechVok. So that means when they are certified by TESDA as trainers, the whole TechVok program can be accredited by TESDA. And once the program is accredited, our students can improve their passing rate in taking the NC1, NC2. Senator Alan asked earlier how many students took the TechVok track. About 400 students, 1,000 students took the TechVok track, of which only 7% took the national certification, and 93% did not take the certification. So in other words, this is a low-hanging fruit. If we can encourage the whole 400,000 to take the national certification, and looking at the data, the passing rate for those who took the national certification is as high as 98%. So
They all passed.
they all,
But
almost
the
all
question is
passed.
how come 93, how the BOC did not
Yes,
take the
93% did not
certificate.
take.
Did not take it.
Yeah, because one of the reasons during the hearing is cost. To take the examination will cost about 1,000, 2,000 pesos per student. And in the budget of TESDA, we also recommended to include the national certification for senior high school students, and that was accepted by the proponent, the sponsor. But in order to level up and to improve the TechVok track, we need two things. Number one is to train our senior high school teachers to become trainers and accredit them by TESDA. And then number two, the whole TechVok track of Deped should be accredited by TESDA. And those are the two things in order to make sure that our TechVok track is accredited by TESDA. So that's why we recommended 144 million to train our teachers to become trainers, TechVok trainers. And the last appeal and recommendation that we made is to create non-teaching positions in the Department of Education. We recommended an allocation of 1.9 billion pesos. I know it's a substantial amount, to hire 5,000 administrative officers and 3,000 project development officers to help our teachers unload their administrative responsibilities.
Yeah.
And this has been a perennial, I'm sure the good sponsor have heard this many times, and this is actually one of the low-hanging fruits as well that we can improve in terms of teaching efficiency in our classrooms. And we recommend to hire as many administrative officers and project development officers so that our teachers can be unloaded with their administrative responsibilities. So again, those are the three appeals and recommendations that we are setting forth. And we also have some recommendations on where the budget will come from, and I will just submit to
Yeah,
the good
sige,
sponsor
sige.
on some of the funding sources that we can tap into in order to fulfill those three recommendations that I mentioned. So that's it, Mr. President, and to our good sponsor.